Hello, STs. Welcome back to Esthetician Edit. Today we have a special guest. We are here with Amanda from Besties Wax. Am I right?
Yes.
And where are you located?
So I am in Ozark, Missouri. I'm kind of actually outside the city limits between Branson and Springfield.
Okay. All right. And then we just want to get to know you first. So we like to always ask, like,
Sure.
how did you become an esthetician and why did you become an esthetician? You can get as deep as you want into it. It's
Okay.
your floor.
So my journey as an esthetician started about 9 to 10 years ago. And it's actually a complete 180 of what I was doing before. If you go way back, what would you say? Like my passion is always science related. So when I was doing like my undergrad, I was focusing on like nursing, pre-med, that type of thing. And then switched gears to the military, came out and was looking for something different. And I actually went and got laser hair removal because I hated hair. And the girl that was doing it, I was like, what's all this? Like, who are you? What do you do? And she explained that she was an esthetician, which I never even heard of the word before. And so I looked more into it to see like, what the qualifications were, what the schooling was. And I was like, I think I could do this. And so the Army helped me pay for school, which was amazing. And they paid for my aesthetics program. And then I went to the Laser Academy out in Arizona. And my goal was going to be to do purely medical stuff. Like I wanted all the super invasive lasers, microneedling, chemical, all the crazy stuff. And
Mhm.
um, when I came back here from where I'm located now, like there just weren't any jobs for that. Like, we're in the central of the US and like everything kind of comes to us last. So it wasn't popular. It wasn't, so I moved back home to Chicago and kind of worked there to get some more experience and worked in all the different, chains and spas and all that kind of good stuff. And then moved back here. And I worked for European Wax for quite a few years, and I really enjoyed my time there. I love my boss, but it's very taxing
Mhm.
on the body, and like I'm not young, so I was like, all right, what's the next phase? And so I actually ended up getting my instructor license and teaching at the school that I actually attended to get my degree, your certification. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then while doing so, I was like, I think I'd really like to do something on my own. And so I ended up building Bessie's Wax. And it is a separate like barn space from my home out in the country. And I mean, as you can see behind me, like that's our backyard.
So
And we
pretty.
love it. Yeah, I just coming from the city to this, it is like night and day, and I love it. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so we took, a year and a half, 2 years to transform this old barn into a little spa. And now I've been open since about it's going on 3 years. And so that's kind of where I'm at
Okay.
right now. Yeah.
And what type of services do you offer? So I'm assuming you offer laser, or do you not offer that anymore? And what other services do you offer?
I don't currently offer laser. The only
Okay.
reason being is, yeah, you'd have to have a doctor or an MD above you to be even like to purchase
Okay.
machines to run them. And I didn't want to work for anybody else,
Mhm.
selfish as that is, I just didn't want to. Um, so I only do waxing, and then I also offer facials. So those are the two main services.
Okay. And how would you describe your approach to both waxing and skincare and the type of experience that you aim to provide for your clients?
So I'm somebody that's really big on like really, really listening to the things that you want to say and not just the words that are coming out of your mouth, but like why you're saying them. Because
Hmm.
I think a lot of times people struggle with how can I say, okay, can we ask that question again?
Yeah. Okay, so how would you describe your approach to both waxing and skincare and the type of experience you aim to create for your clients?
Okay. Um, so I want it to be very thoughtful and intentional, but realistic. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
have somebody come in and, see an Instagram or a TikTok and be like, I want my skin to look like this. And then just selling them a whole bunch of crap just to make money. And then it never happens and they're disappointed.
Yeah.
Um, So when you come in, I want you to feel like you are extremely cared for, that you are the only client that I have, period, and that time doesn't matter. So like if you want to sit in my chair for 2 hours beforehand and tell me your whole life story, which happens a lot, or if you want to
Mm-hmm.
just talk about your whole skincare journey or all your questions, like I want to give you that time and that space so that you feel valued and you know that like the treatments that I'm going to do and the choices that I make are 100% specific to you based on everything that you've told me. Um, and I think I
Okay.
found just, going down like the pre-med route, the nursing route and stuff like that, like the biggest complaint that people had is like when you see professionals, you have like 5 or 10 minutes to try to get out what's been going on. And then things get missed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like, okay, if you're going to come out here, I'm going to ask you all the questions, not just what's happened in the past 2 days, but like what's happened in your life. What do you do? Where do you go? All those types of things so that I can designate a plan or advise you the best way to be able to get or reach the goals that you're trying to reach, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it does. I think it probably sets you apart from other estheticians because, like you said, there's so many doctors out there, but the ones that really stand out are the ones that care and the ones that ask the right questions and are invested in your health. So same thing goes for the skin also. So I completely agree with you. Um, so what's one lesson or a piece of advice you've learned through your work as an esthetician?
Oh my gosh, the more you know, the more you don't know. I think everybody can relate to that. I think when you're younger, you think you know it all. You think how life goes. And then you become an
Mhm.
esthetician and you take a couple classes and you're like, yeah, I got this. Like I'm good at X, Y, and Z. And then the more people you see, you're like, oh shoot, okay, well that didn't work. Or
Mhm.
and so it makes you question everything. And so I think like one of the biggest things that if I can even tell like younger estheticians is you have to constantly educate yourself. And there's not going to be anybody that says you should take X, Y, and Z. It's more of you have to go out and find and research the background of people and the classes that you want to take, make sure that they're reputable,
Mhm.
and continue pushing yourself and learning because that's the only way that you can really make a positive impact, I think, on people. Because if you have like
Mhm.
this narrow view of like, okay, well, this is going to work for acne or this is going to work for waxing, there's so much more out there. And
Yeah.
so the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I'm a newer esthetician, so like
Mhm.
I work specifically with like microneedling and sculpting. Like those are my primary services, buccal massage
Sure.
and microneedling. But I did have a client come to me with melasma recently, and we were just I was asking her a ton of questions and I already kind of knew like I know what melasma is, I know why it's caused, like the root cause of it and stuff like that. But then just diving deep and asking her questions, you realize like she's tried so many different things. Like there's so many factors that can come to play just from like one individual and their like bio individual background. And
Mhm.
so I ended up creating a whole melasma guide. Like I went home and I just
That's
studied and I was
amazing.
just, yeah. And so I think it's cool that you say that because it's just like, I think if we can just get comfortable with not always knowing and
Mhm.
just take it more as like a challenge of like, okay, I'm gonna learn what I don't know and go home and do that.
Mhm.
I think that's it doesn't matter if you're a newer esthetician or an older esthetician, one that's more seasoned, like I think that's
For
something that should
sure.
always, yeah, be a thing.
I think
So I
I
love that
mean, good for
answer.
you. That is freaking amazing. I think like
Mhm.
I think one of the big struggles with like our field estheticians is that it is so big. Like there's so many things you can do. And so like when I
Mhm.
see newer estheticians or even seasoned, like having menus that have like a zillion different services, not to say that they can't do them well, but if you
Mhm.
really wanted to hone in on your craft and you started looking into all those individual services, you would realize like, oh my God, like maybe I need to start narrowing it down a little bit. I mean, and
Yeah.
hence you have doctors that have like specialists. It's okay to not know, and I think that's one of the things that like we struggle with because we always want to give the clients the best, and we don't want them to think that we're incompetent or that we don't care. but like, come on, especially now with AI, the
Hmm.
internet, like everybody can look up anything and there's so much information out there. So yeah, I
Hmm.
definitely want to hopefully get away from that stigma of like, we're supposed to know everything because there's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, literally no way. Okay, so then I I know that you work with Hale and Hush. You're wearing their
Yeah.
shirt, which is so cute. Can you tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about the brand and what drew you to it initially?
Okay. So this goes back, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I was looking for a line to before I even built this place. Like I was like, okay, I got a couple years to try it in different, so maybe it was even longer than that. I want to try all these products. I want to do all the things before I even open, before I even offer them. And so a fellow esthetician that I went to school with had mentioned this line, and she's like, I feel like you might like this. And she's like, they give out samples, you can try them out, whatever. And I was like, okay. So I did, and like the first package was like this beautiful, like little organza bag with all these samples. And I was like, okay, well, that's pretty. And then I started using the products, and I was like, okay, I really like these. So I ordered like the full size just to kind of work on myself. And during that time, like I went from having super oily, super acneic, a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation because I'm a picker, and
Hmm.
it was a hot mess, a lot of sun damage. Like I was in the tanning booth, like it was my job. So I went from that to having a full hysterectomy, and like overnight skin went to like peeling, dry, like I was flaking all over it was
Wow.
disaster. Yeah. And I was like, I
Hmm.
don't know what I'm doing. Like this is whew. So everything I
Hmm.
was doing before now was not working. And so Hale and Hush was able to calm the redness. And then I developed rosacea, which genetic component too, but like it didn't show up until the hysterectomy. And so
Hmm.
their entire line changed my skin overnight. And like I've never gotten more compliments on my skin than ever before. And like
Hmm.
I have like tinted sunscreen on, but like I don't wear makeup. I don't, camouflage anything. And so like they gave me a lot of confidence back, and I've stuck with them ever since.
And are most of your clients like kind of similar in the fact that they have like sensitive skin or reactive skin? Because I know Hale and Hush is for sensitive skin, correct?
Yes, yes. So initially when I was gonna very first open, I was just gonna do waxing. Like that was my main
Mhm.
goal. And so I was wanting to use them as like the pre and post products because I think like that's a super sensitive area. And then
Yeah.
when I kind of found my love for facials again after instructing on them for so long, and I was like, man, like I really like this line. So as far as clientele, like waxing, I would say is younger. So maybe like 30 and up. Very rarely do I have folks in their 20s. And then facial wise, I would say probably a little bit older. So like 40 and up. And
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of them have reactions to different products because, they see sales or TikTok and they buy all this stuff and then their face blows up and then they come here and I was like, I don't know what to do. Um,
Yeah.
so that, and then coupled with a lot of folks that are either perimenopause or in menopause, and they have no idea what to do with their skin anymore. They're like, I need help. And so that's kind of
Hmm.
that demographic that I have.
So are the products like more calming and nourishing, would you say, rather than like stripping and because
Oh my
usually
God.
we see, yeah. Can you explain a little bit like the product like formulation and how they differ from other products?
For sure. So they're the only professional line that's exclusively for sensitive skin. And kind of going back to what I was saying before about like trying to do too many things at once and not being, the jack of all trades, but master of none type of thing. Like
Mhm.
they are mastering and honing in on the sensitive skin. So all of their products are going to try to cool and calm, bring down the redness, bring down the inflammation, if there's itching going on, things like that. But at the same time, using enough, let's say actives. I mean, there are actives, but not to the
Mhm.
point where they're going to burn or where you're going to have downtime. Like this is like a nice, slow and steady wins the race type of
Mhm.
thing. Whereas I think when I first started as an SD like 10 years ago, I was all like, I want dramatic, hardcore, rip off my face, give me new baby skin, and that's cool. Like when you're younger, like you can get away with that stuff. But like as you're older, oh my God, no, It's like any little
Yeah.
tiny little thing can just set you off. Yeah. So they're gentle enough to not be able to cause those types of issues, but at the same time give you the results that you're looking for. So it's like the best of
Mhm.
both worlds.
Yeah. I personally like my philosophy, it kind of aligns with Hale and Hush. Like I actually think everyone should be using things like products that are catered to those with sensitive skin because the skin is gentle. It's like, I feel like we treat it very harshly. And I actually see, like you
Mhm.
said, a lot of clients come, they are watching TikTok videos, they're like, they get like one breakout and then they start using a bunch of actives and then all of a sudden they just like feed this cycle and they apparently have acne prone skin which they never did to begin with, and then you just focus on like
Mhm.
healing their barrier and they don't even need any actives, like they just get better.
Absolutely.
So I feel like
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you see it, but I think we're moving more towards like barrier healing and nourishing ingredients rather than those that
Oh
strip
my
the
gosh.
skin.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, I remember in school, we never talked about the, like, I don't even know if barrier was even mentioned, to be completely honest. Like,
I
we
don't
learned that
even
you
think
had like,
in when I went to school, and I went to school last year, I
yeah,
just learned that
oh,
from all of the brands that I've been talking to.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely, we're definitely moving in that direction, which I
Mhm.
think is great because, like you said, you have one little issue and you attack it with all of these strong, like hydroquinone was like super huge for a long time, and Accutane was huge for a long time. And not to say that any of those
Mhm.
products are bad, but like they're not great for everybody. And so what
Yeah.
I see a lot when folks come in is they'll be like, I have, this and this. I have really oily, really acne, whatever. And then when I get them on my table and I'm looking, I'm like, actually, you don't. Your skin is this, but because this is going on, and I'll have them bring in their all of their products. I'm like, whatever you put on your face, like bring it in a garbage bag. Like, let's do this. And
Garbage.
then I'll be like, okay, well, this is happening and that's causing this. If you get rid of this and try something, and then they're like, oh,
Mhm.
and then in 30 days, they're like, oh my gosh, okay, like that's a lot better. And I don't have to use 15 different things and all that. I was like, yeah, like just calm down.
Yeah,
So
it's usually going back to
definitely,
simple. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
what's your favorite Hale and Hush product to use in the treatment room? I guess you can say like what's your favorite for the skin as far as like facials for the face, and what's your favorite for waxing?
So it would all really depend on the person, and it changes all the
Mhm.
time. So currently, the Fresh Breeze, which is a newer mist that came out, they had Mist Me, and then they kind of doctored it up a little bit and came out with Fresh Breeze. Fresh Breeze, like it smells like mandarin and cucumber and like a light citrusy. So like you can just spritz just whenever the hell you feel like it. Like if someone's in the
Mhm.
middle of facial, like I just want to do a it's super hydrating. Like I put it under everything. It feels super good. It smells really good. But like the remedy oil is like a godsend. I need to bathe in it. I would buy stock in it. Like it is the best thing since sliced bread. So the remedy oil is something that I would use for to pre-dermaplane. Like I used to dermaplane dry when I was first in it. Like
Uh-huh.
that's how we were taught. And then you just end up like nicking the hell out of the skin unless they're really oily. And so I started using like jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, and it was fine. But the remedy
Mhm.
oil has more healing properties in it. And I feel like that just makes a big difference when dermaplaning. I'll also use it for massage. I'll also use it for dry and mature clients, like underneath their moisturizer to lock it in. So that has been,
Mhm.
and I use it on myself every day. I actually tried. So, we're as SEs, we're always like, ooh, let's do this. Let's try. Okay. So, like 2 weeks ago or so, I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't really need this remedy oil anymore because it's getting to be summertime, yada, yada. So I stopped using it. Girl, every single day for the past week, I have broken out with like a new pimple. And I'm like, what is the only thing I've done? And it was, I stopped using that. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
so, I mean, even I'm still learning on my own skin.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that has been like a game changer with my skin, with the client skin. And then when it comes to like waxing, the Hale and Hush hydrate gel with the relief bio powder.
Mhm.
I put it on lottie-dottie everybody, especially on the Brazilian, even on their brows. Like it brings that redness down faster than anything else I've ever used. And I'll put the moisturizer in a little mini fridge. And so then I'll take
Hmm.
that, mix it up, and slap it on. So like that cold on top of all the proper, just chef's kiss.
Very
Love it.
soothing. That's
Yeah.
so funny that you talk about the remedy oil because I just started using it this week on my clients. I had a
Yeah.
client that like was very from the moment I used like the first cleanse was just like
Mhm.
red, like super red, which some people just get red like that.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so everything I use on her, like I just want to like calm and just soothe her
Mhm.
skin. And so I actually used the
Yeah.
remedy oil, and I loved the way it felt. Like it felt kind of thick, but like
Mhm.
not comedogenic or anything, like warm. I don't know how to describe the
Yeah.
feeling. Very, very,
Yeah.
very nice. I loved it.
It is unlike any oil, and I've tried a lot of oils. Because like you
Hmm.
said, it feels thick when you go on, but it doesn't feel like you don't even know you have it on your skin, and it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
make
very
you look like a
soft.
grease pit. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I
I love
really
it.
liked it a lot. I started
Ooh,
using that
it's
and the
amazing.
and the quiet wash and the quiet
Okay,
wash.
love it,
Yeah.
love it, love it.
So, what would you say to a fellow esthetician who's considering bringing Hale and Hush into their practice?
Do it. So to give you a little bit of just do it. So when I first opened, they were the only line that I had. And I was always concerned about like, do I have enough products? Like, what if I have somebody that needs something else other than this? But like financially and stuff, I was okay, this is all I can afford. And they didn't have as many products as they have now. Not that they have like a huge, but there was even less. Um,
Mhm.
and I was able to do every single facial, every single waxing without a problem. And I never was like, oh shoot, I wish I had X, Y, and Z. And I
Mhm.
think that you kind of talked about it before, like there's so many barriers that are messed up that you can't even use like the super aggressive stuff that you'd like to because your skin isn't even going to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
So I think you can whatever you're trying to specialize in, or if you're trying to do a little bit of everything, there's products in there that are going to help. They're
Mhm.
also very, very affordable for not only for the esthetician, but also for your clients. They also have
Mhm.
drop shipping, just amazing.
Oh, I
They're
didn't
really,
know
really
that.
girl. Okay.
That's
Game,
awesome.
yes, game changer. And there's no minimum to be able to drop ship or to order like your back bar stuff.
Mhm.
They do so many different things to help estheticians. Like I've never met a line that supports us more. Not only do they only sell to us, like you will never find them on eBay, Amazon, other stores.
Mm.
So that's just amazing because I feel like all of those, not that they're trying to make all the money, but then a lot of daddy, everybody buys things and then they use things that they shouldn't or in a way that they shouldn't.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh, this didn't work. It's like, okay, well, if you
Mhm.
met with an institution who actually knew what they were doing, like be a little bit better. So
Yeah.
you've got that. And then their education is phenomenal. So you have a free monthly blog and a free monthly webinar on a whole host of different topics. They also have advanced classes. And like, I'll be honest with you. So I've been with them for like 4 or 5 years. I've taken every
Mhm.
single class that they've ever offered. I've been to every single webinar, every single blog. Like I've done it
Mhm.
all. And like it has increased my knowledge tenfold. Um, and then
Mhm.
the best part is their customer service. Like the owner, Chris Campbell, she's like an angel on earth. This woman
Mhm.
is from the very get-go of like just getting samples, like she personally reached out and was like, hey, like, what would you like to know? Do you want anything about the company? Blah, blah, and is really, really transparent, which I mean, I've never spoken to an owner of a skincare line, like ever.
That's true.
Um,
Mhm.
she even gives out like her personal information, her cell phone, her whatever. You can text her and be like, hey, like I just blew up somebody's face. Like, what do I do? And she will respond like, right. It's crazy. And the most generous. Like she's always giving back to the community, to estheticians, whether it be giving away free product or like I was named for the very first time ever, like this is their 10-year anniversary. I was named their Hushie
Mhm.
of the year. Have you heard about that?
Mhm. She told me about that. which the
Okay.
name alone is so cute.
Right? I love Hushies. I should have worn my little Hushie shirt. So they chose, for those who don't know, they chose one person that is really supportive of the company, of the line, that attends their education, that helps other estheticians, and you get a whole host of things. But one of the main things is that she let me choose any trade show throughout this entire year. And they're covering like my airfare, my hotel, my ticket. And I basically get to go for free and just soak up as much knowledge as I possibly can and be able to actually like meet all the people that I've been learning from or chatting with for years that I've never put face to face,
Uh-huh.
you know?
I love
And
that.
yeah, like I'm so excited. That comes up in June. Um, and then I mean another thing with their company too is that the transparency thing. Like we just had a webinar not too long ago with the chemist who actually makes the
Hmm.
products. And he sat there for an hour and explained, why certain ingredients are in what they're in and how they were sourced and why they chose them. And I feel like that's something that you don't get from other lines. Like to be able to directly talk to the
Hmm.
person that's making your,
Hmm.
well, mind blowing. Like I learned so much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Yeah,
I
you want to
I would not take
understand the why behind the product is very important.
heck yeah. I mean, anybody can be
Hmm.
like, this is going to do this. Okay, but why?
Hmm.
And why is it better than this one that I have at home or this line over here? So,
Hmm.
like, they really give you all the tools that you need to be successful. And it's not just for show or it's not just for you to sell more product. Like, you
Hmm.
could sell nothing and they would be just as supportive. So,
Hmm.
absolutely
I love that
get
because
them
I
on
feel like
board.
sometimes when you like partner with a brand, there's like maybe one course that you take and all of a sudden you're a specialist, but it sounds like they are always kind of coming out with new courses, like they're evolving themselves as I'm sure they're learning themselves about the skin and about,
Absolutely.
different formulations. So it's like they're bringing you guys along for the ride with them as they evolve as well, which is nice.
Absolutely. So, I don't know if anybody knows like the background and history, but so
Hmm.
Chris Campbell used to work on a line called Techniche, and that was an oncology, more goal-oriented type of skincare. And so like the roots are in that. And then it kind of, developed more products that would be able to be used on the sensitive skin. Excuse me. And so I feel like as time goes on, like you had mentioned, we're focusing more on barrier repair and whether or not you have like true sensitive skin or more sensitized, which I think that's really what the majority of people have. They just don't know.
Yeah.
Being able to, yeah, to be able to use products that maybe if you can't even pinpoint the source of it because of all the different factors that can cause, then at least you can do something to calm it down. And then, maybe get to the point where you can
Hmm.
figure out what causes it. But I mean, I still have clients to this day that, we've been trying to figure out what has been causing X, Y, and Z. And are still stumped. I mean,
Hmm.
anything from like an allergy to something, which, can you test for every possible allergen? Like, no. Or
Yeah.
even if you could you afford to? Probably not, So,
Hmm.
and all of those clients have been able to use the product successfully. And I've even explained to them, and I was like, if you ever buy something that you don't like, you're not going to use, you're not happy with, or whatever, like I will buy it back from you. 100%. And in
Hmm.
all the years I've been open, I've never bought back one product. So I
I
think that
love that.
that that's a lot. Yeah.
I love that. I'm definitely going to try out more of their products. I have very like I get a lot of histamine reaction to things, which is
Okay.
strange. And I used to have acne. I had acne from the time I was 17 to I'm 28 now. So for that long, and I didn't figure it out until this year, the beginning of this year, that eggs was the cause of my acne. I haven't had acne since January because I have not had one bite of eggs. Like, yeah, I haven't had one.
Congratulations, girl.
But it taught
That's
me so
huge.
much, like in that, like in trying all the acne products and stuff like that, I was always confused as to why they didn't really work for me. And it was because like I
Sure.
didn't really need them. I needed more of like barrier repair. I remember actually
Yeah.
one of my first facials ever. it was at a resort spa, and it wasn't like a customized facial or anything. It was just one of those facials that you buy, so they have their protocol. I had a bunch of cystic acne on my chin, and she didn't do like any extractions or anything. She just put like hydration and like all of these soothing products. And by the time I left, I was like, it was so like it had gone down completely because it was like soothing my skin. Like it was
Oh,
more
nice.
healing. Yeah, and so that's when I realized, oh, okay, so I actually didn't need all those acne products. I just needed the opposite. Hmm.
Absolutely. And so, like you said, as far as not knowing or knowing what to be able to put on, I think that we're kind of going away from the trend of where maybe 5, 10 years ago, it would be like, the blueberry facial of the month or whatever. And then you would just go and
Yeah.
then you use the same products on every single face. And
Hmm.
I feel like when it comes to like the bigger places, because you have to have such a quick turnaround, and one of the reasons why I left, like, I don't say like the corporate, but like the chain places, is because you have to
Hmm.
work really quickly and you're doing the same thing on every single person. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of folks are going away from that, not only focusing on the barrier repair, but doing more customized facials. And instead of just saying, like, this is the blueberry facial of the month or whatever, it's going to be maybe
Yeah.
more so like the menopausal facial or the
Hmm.
acneic, so that you're actually looking and analyzing and taking the time to truly see what's going on with them and then customize. Like, if you see folks that have facials where they already have all their stuff set out, never. I've never had that. I have everything that I could
Hmm.
possibly need around me. And like as I'm going, what I thought maybe before they came in, even if I know who they are, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to do this because this is what they're working on. They come in and I'm like, nope, okay, that's not going to work. Switch gears, grab something else. Um, and I
Hmm.
think to be like a really good esthetician, that's what you need to do. It's not, I mean, anybody can just slap something on your face and be like, ta-da. But I
Yeah.
mean, are you actually doing anything and helping them? Probably not. So,
Yeah. And that with that comes education, which it sounds like you
yeah.
have a lot of. Yeah.
Girl, I wish I could just retain everything. Like I meet so many people and I'm like, I just want to like just take a transplant from your brain because there's so much information. And I think that like as exciting as it is to learn things, it's also kind of terrifying because you don't know what you don't know. And so like
Hmm.
you might do something on someone and be like, oh, okay, this is great. And then you start like a deep dive, which everybody does now on the internet of whatever. And then you're like,
Hmm.
oh wait, maybe that wasn't. Oh, and then I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I think that like trying to specialize or just, hone it down, especially for the newer SDs and be like, let me learn, like you were talking about, starting with just the basics. Like, can you really truly analyze skin? Do you know how it
Hmm.
works? Because if you don't have that, you're always going to struggle trying to figure out who and what to do and why did that happen as opposed to this when you thought it would, because you don't have that foundation. So I think that's super,
Yeah.
super important.
Yeah. And I think it's also like touching as much skin as possible, like different skin types. I remember
Yeah.
I did an event a few months ago, and it was like I was giving mini facials. I probably gave like almost 40 mini facials. I was dying, but I have
Oh
never
my
touched, like,
God.
I touch so much skin that I was like, wow, it's insane how, like, skin just feels different on everyone. And I think that's
So
so
different.
important to really just like, because I think that the best estheticians, it's called like skin tuition. So, like, they
Mhm.
obviously have the knowledge, but then they can look at skin and they kind of just know already based on what they've seen in the past, right? Or what they've experienced with
Absolutely.
themselves, like how to approach this client.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're so right. And I mean, even people who like they'll come in and they'll say, oh, like I'll be like, okay, what do you like about your skin? Or, can you describe it? And
Hmm.
they'll say all these things and I'll look at them and from here it looks one way, but then like you said, once you get up close, and I know there's kind of some controversy or some differences of thought on like whether or not to wear gloves. But when I'm analyzing,
Hmm.
like I don't wear gloves, like I want to feel and touch
Yeah,
and
me
move
either.
all the things.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also a reason why I don't have like really long nails, because like I feel like you have a lot of receptors like very the tippy portion, and
Hmm.
so I want that part to be able to touch your face, to be able to feel the different textures and tones and elasticity and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
so when someone might think they have thin skin or blah, blah, you can actually explain to them, like you said, after touching 40 people, and be like, actually,
Yeah.
like your skin is like really good, or it's not as good as you thought. Or so
Yeah.
that's how long were you doing that for? How long did it take you to do 40 mini facials?
It was like 5 hours, and at one point it was a line, and I was like, "You guys, if anyone else comes in the line, like that's it. Tell them I'm done." Because I mean, there was like
Yeah.
5 minutes each person, but I was like, "Wow!" Like everyone's skin, like it felt so different. It could look kind of the same, like similar
Mhm.
in the way that you see texture, you see acne, things like
Yeah,
that. But then when you feel it,
definitely.
it's so much. And face structures, you feel the different facial structures, which is
Big time.
fascinating. Yeah.
So cute. Like you said, I mean, you can look at anybody from 5 feet away and it looks great.
Mhm.
But having like a
Mhm.
Maggie lamp and being able to like zone in, you're like, oh, well, okay. I see some stuff that I didn't see before. And even
Yeah.
even to them, like if you hold a mirror here, it's gonna look way different than if you have a 10 mag lamp and you're like this. And you're like, okay, actually, like
Mhm.
here's your capillaries. This is going on. This is going on. So girl, I give you a lot of credit because I couldn't do it. I attempted one time to do a Galentine party for
Uh-huh.
a client. And so they wanted like a mini facial for, I don't know, like 20, 25 people or so. I think I ended up doing maybe 7 to like 10
Mhm.
because I just, I don't know about you, but like a lot of people have different thoughts on like energy and like how much energy you can put into a
Mhm.
facial, a person, or like I cannot imagine doing 40 because after like I was spent. Like
Mhm. I think
I
I
can't
did
even
like
do it.
30. I think I'm being dramatic. I
It's
think it was more
okay.
like
Still,
30, but it was
that's still
definitely
a
up there.
lot of things.
Yeah.
That is a lot. I
No, I'll never
so
do it
like one of the
again.
reasons that no, you couldn't pay me enough. I like waxing I could do more in a day, but like facials I will do honestly 2 a day, maybe
Mhm.
3 if I really have to push it. But like I just want to give you every single bit of me. And if I do that, the next person's not going to have as great of an experience because I mean you're like you just gotta like recharge and stuff.
Yeah.
So out
Yeah.
here, as you can see, everything's nice and relaxing. So like I want folks to be able to come in and completely just like, and then I can give them everything I've got. They can go, I recharge, reset, and then go from there.
Mhm.
So
I love
that's
that.
awesome.
Sounds like you're
And
giving like a really good experience that's unique.
I try. I think especially with like one of the things as far as like waxing is concerned, and especially intimate waxing, is when I've
Mhm.
worked in chains and bigger places, having other people around you, especially for men to be in a place where they're surrounded by women, or everything is pink and froofy and whatever. And no
Mhm.
hate on any of that, but like a lot of men don't
Mhm.
want to go in there because of that. And so, having a
Mhm.
space where one, like I don't have anybody else in my treatment room or even in the waiting area, like it's always just one person. Being
Mhm.
away from traffic, other people, no one sees you when you come and go, and then giving you the most amount of time that it takes. I mean, I've had people here for hours for
Mhm.
a Brazilian wax, which could never
Mhm.
happen in like a
Mhm.
a normal, excuse me, business. But like I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to see
Mhm.
as many people as I can. Like I've always wanted just a small group that I can really give everything I can to, and then just make enough to feed my dogs.
I love
That's
that.
my goal.
I'm sure they appreciate it. That's probably what makes them come back for sure. Yeah.
That's the majority of feedback that I get, is that
Mhm.
like they feel safe and comfortable and that they don't have to come here all made up. Like I have folks that come in their slippers and their bathrobes right straight out of the shower with their hair still in a towel. I'm like, girl, perfect, come on. So I
I
love
love that. Well,
it.
thank you so much, Amanda. If
You're
any of our
welcome.
listeners want to like connect with you on like social media or like do you have a website? Can you provide that for us?
Absolutely.
What is
So
it?
I'm at bestieswax.com.
Okay.
My social media and stuff like that is not great. Not gonna lie, that is not my thing. But they can always check on the phone in there. You can text me, message me anytime. I will always answer. I'm open every single day. So always here to help with anything that I possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.